What is up, everybody? Welcome to another wonderful Monday night of Chewin the BBQ Fat. Hope y'all all had a great week. I know we did. I got my new background going on here. Got my wall built. Just trying something, and it is not working. It's kind of fun. Arms going everywhere. But anyway, man, that Florida Triple Crown is knocked out of the park. Papa Pig is just killing it again down there. Schaefer getting a big grand. Congratulations, y'all. Way to go. Houston Livestock Rodeo coming up this week. How exciting. My buddy Bill and Jordan are down there cooking in that. They can't wait to see how they do. It's going to be a good time. But man, God, this is awesome. What a great week we're going to have. We are preparing for Sippin' Swine here at the Chewin the BBQ Fat compound. It's going to be awesome. Ellen has got some notes for me, but she didn't give me enough notes to go over all of this stuff. But real quick before we get rolling, we do have – oh, there she is. Come here, babe. We have a couple new products that I'm going to talk about before we get rolling. We have King's Barbecue King of the Yard Bird Rub. Going to be a good rub. Try that out. King's Barbecue King of the Yard Yard Bird. It's a promotional giveaway. Yes. I'm announcing the 12 winners of the promotional giveaway. I knew I was doing something productive tonight. So, okay. Some of them already have it coming. Others don't, but I need to go ahead and give you all the winners of the 12 promotional win. See, my bride, she gave me these notes. Can't even see them. And I'm going to go over them. Number 1, Christy Bryan. Congratulations. Number 2, Daniel Patrick. Way to go. 3, James Merritt. Way to go. 4, Mitch Johnson. 5, Jerry Stevenson Jr. 6, George Ray. I'm going to quit numbering them. Gary Taylor. Aaron. Gidry. Joey Kimbrell. Jason Maples. Kevin. Christian Thaparolus. Way to go. And Jerry Aguilar. Way to go. Awesome. I hope I didn't butcher any of those names at all. I know I did, but it's going to be awesome. So congratulations on that promo. Thank you for getting in on it. We love our new what's up, Charles? How you doing? We love our new social media lady we have. If you can't tell, we have a new one. Ellen did a great job, but we have decided to go in with another social media person, and she's doing a great job. Thank you so much. But awesome. President's Day sale going on now till tonight. It's ongoing. Things are going to come on and off. See, my wife gave me notes and didn't go over the notes with me, so this is a cluster. Imagine that. They're what? Rubs and sauces are steeply discounted. So go to AtlantaBarbecueStore.com, check them out, get the sales, get it out of here. Let's roll with it. We are back on the delivery front, and I've got people waiting in the lobby to talk. So I'm trying to go through this as quick as I can. This weekend, we have Mission Farms. The code is Iron Station. Next weekend, 100 people have asked. Yes, we're delivering to Sippin' Swine. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a great time. Hope to see you there. The code for that is Lawrenceville. Put in Lawrenceville. GBA, if you can get your order in by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, noon tomorrow, we can get you to Vienna at the Dilly Dally and Dooley. There's that. Real quick, Kerry Chastain wanted me to let you know that he still has a couple spots left for his class this weekend. Sign up, and it's going to be awesome. Steve Smith, man, how you doing? What's up, Bearded Monkey? How you doing? And is that it? That's it. All right. Speaking of top tier contest, I've got the main man, Jason Cole. How you doing, buddy?
Just living the dream, brother. How about you?
I love it. I love it, man. You are the dream. That's what everybody says. Smoke on the Shore is the dream contest. You got to go. If you can't make the Land Barbecue Store Classic, you got to go to Smoke on the Shores, right?
I agree. Totally agree.
So tell me a little about what are we, a month away? A little less than a month now?
We're a little less than a month away. Yeah. So just making trophies and getting everything put together, finish up. Takes a village to make this thing happen. So really grateful for my wife. She's helped me tonight, or I should say, I helped her tonight.
That's right.
Put some trophies together and whatnot. I've got one right over my shoulder right there. There you go.
I think it's beautiful.
So other than that, we're just trying to make sure we get everything set up right and get this thing happening.
That's great. So this is your first year doing backyard or second year?
It's our second year doing backyard. First year we capped it, I think, at 42 teams or 40 teams. This year we're going to cap it at 50, and we're full. We've got a few on a wait list right now. So, but we still have a few spots left in pro. We've got 6 spots left. We had a team just sign up in the past 5 minutes. So
that's amazing.
We're trying to get to that elusive 100. So we're only 6 teams away.
That's amazing, guys. Sign up for this contest. This is a premier. I was just up there at the location for Paul and Lynn's and Drew and Chelsea's class. Beautiful place, very spacious. It is what you want in a contest, in a location. Jason, how can they sign up for your contest?
Just go to smokeontheshores.com. There's a link at the top to click on to register. We also have a rib burn on Friday night, turkey smoke event Friday night. Turkey smoke event's free. We also have a dessert competition on Saturday, which is free as well.
Those are fun, man. Yeah. As an organizer, we're new at this, right? So we're not like Jason. We're learning all this. Man, I tell you what, we did dessert last year. That was the best thing we could have done. I tell you, seeing those desserts come in is amazing. I mean,
there were some hugely creative dishes that came in. I was pulling for, the lavender one, the lavender cheesecake. I know Wes says that lavender is not a flavor, but that thing was absolutely gorgeous. But we had some really, really cool desserts. The time and attention and detail they take into these desserts is amazing. So
incredible.
And same thing with turkey smoke. We had some amazing dishes for turkey smoke, really creative dishes. Something I never would have thought of, but really awesome. So yeah, if you're interested, go to our website, smokeontheshores.com, and register. I'll be remiss if I didn't mention that, hey, the whole thing we do this for is for Operation Barbecue Relief and Operation Stand Down Tennessee. All the proceeds go to those 2 charities. We also give all the food, all the leftover food. The teams donated this past year, teams donated enough food to feed over 1,000 families. So we're doing that again this year. We're going to raffle off a drum smoker this year. So we're looking forward to it. A lot to do to get finished up. We still got to get some more trophies made and got to get our guitars in and whatnot, but we're getting close.
Man, I tell you what, I hope I can make it one day. That's right.
They just spot this year. I'm going
to try. I'm already at Sip and Swine. I'm cooking Sip and Swine, but I'm missing one of my kids has a tournament that weekend. Both of my kids have a tournament your weekend. I don't know. It's tough. One of these days we're going to make it up there. I can't wait. We're going to come showing up with we're going to have all kind of stuff showing up when we ever make it in there. It's going to be amazing. But anyway, so Jason, thank you so much. Once again, how can they get in touch? How can they get signed up?
SmokeOnTheShores.com. You also check out our Facebook page. But if you want to register, go to SmokeOnTheShores.com. And at the top, there's a link to an application.
Awesome. You have time to stay on for just a little bit, or you need to get back?
If you want me, we got big hitters. I don't.
Hey, this is Chewin the BBQ Fat. Nobody gets big hitters like we do. Everybody tries, but they're just all trying hard. But you know what? That's what we do. We bring in teams from all over. We got more of these. Look at that, David. You're on. You're up, baby. How we doing, David and Joel?
You spoke big hitters. I was looking around. I was like, okay.
I was waiting for somebody else you had in the
I'll bring them on right now. Adam and Tanya, how y'all doing?
There they are, the big hitters.
There we go. How y'all doing, everybody?
Doing great. Thank you, Brian.
Good. So, Jason, these
Yes.
guys did practice cooks this weekend.
Okay.
So kind of what I want to talk about tonight is practice cooks and what all goes into it. David and Joel won theirs.
Oh, nice.
They
Well, they
won.
always win. Did Joel cook the ribs? I'm just curious.
Joel
Yes.
180 the ribs.
She did.
Twice.
Maybe.
She's done okay.
That's awesome. So, real quick, Adam and Tanya, I know y'all did a practice cook this weekend also. Can you give us a little bit of just talk a little bit about what it was like with doing a practice cook, and why did you do it?
Go ahead.
Well, I think it's to better ourselves and just to hear what the judges are looking for and get some good feedback in what you need to do or what you don't need to do.
So, what did you learn that you need to do?
We're trying to get our secrets out.
Tanya.
Oh no, I'm not looking for that. I'm just trying to figure out what the judges said.
They were very critical, so it really helped you because they were looking for any little thing to help us to change or not change when we go to a competition. Like they would tell us if it was too savory, if they thought maybe it was too saucy, if it, the judges where we were at might have liked chicken better that hardly didn't have any sauce on it. And, they were really critical and told us so much feedback that, it really gave you an insight on maybe I need to tweak this. Maybe I don't need to tweak that. And, we had 17, was it 7 of us? 17. So, and they were all tough teams. So we could really see how we were up against the other teams that were there with us. So it was tough. Like, our number one team that won ours had a 703. Yeah. So that was choo-choo.
Tanya, did you guys do feedback afterwards too to each of the teams?
Yes, they sat with each of us and we went over every single person's score in every single category.
How long was the day for you?
We got done about 4:30 going over everything.
With 7 teams?
Yes.
How many judges did you have?
6.
Oh, wow.
So it was very informative.
Yeah.
Jason,
And
I'm going to
give us a
allow
chance
you
to,
to be the co-host. So if you
this
have any
was our-
questions, you can just say.
Right before we start the season, so we wanted to try a few, new things to think, maybe these were going to work out for us. So some did and some did not.
So Dave and Joel, same question for y'all. How did that go with y'all? What did what was y'all's? Y'all's was a kind of a different.
We had the opposite of what they have. It was just us cooking, but we had 12 judges being super critical.
Tell Wes to put that.
So
But we won every category.
we did in every category. There were lots of 7s and 8s that we got, and it's funny. To Tanya's point, did I think they were overly critical? Yes, because I think they were trying to give us constructive criticism. They weren't going to hurt our feelings, and we made it a point of saying that, hey, listen, because it was funny because some people said, well, I was on the fence with a 7 or 8, but I gave you a 7 because I really wanted, to give you good feedback. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. It wasn't so much the scores. It was what if it's too salty, too saucy, too this, too that. That was the biggest thing, the help that they gave us. But I tell you, for us, with having 12 judges, the variety of opinions was really quite different from a lot of people, which can leave you a little bit confused. But in turn, I think it left them educated as much as it left us educated, meaning they learned from us as much as we learned from them. So,
And in fairness, we had 4 that were actually reps, so they don't judge anymore. So you kind of have to take their feedback with a little bit of understanding that there are reps more in the role of reps now than judges. But with that being said,
I mean,
definitely like it was a learning for us to say when they said, well, you're an 8 or a 9 or a 7, 8, and we've been instructed to, we being the judges, we've been instructed to err on the side of the team, so score you higher. So we came out of that going, okay, so how many 9s have we had that are probably 8s, or how many 8s have we had that are probably not 7s? Because I feel like the scoring's got a little shifted to the higher side of things versus actually realistic of what the KCBS scoring actually should be. You can correct me if you think differently, but I felt like their scoring was actually more in line with what KCBS scoring definitions are. But with that aside, more important to us was just the feedback, the sitting there talking to literally all 12 of them, going through every category. And that's why, Tanya, I asked you how long it took. Like, we finished about, 3:30? I mean, we did normal KCBS timelines, lit our fires in normal time. We did everything, turn-ins the same. And we felt a bit rushed getting finished at 3:30, don't you think?
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine if we had 2 teams getting this amount of feedback we got, it was a long day. It would have been even longer, but it was still great feedback.
Jason, you got any questions for him?
Well, 12 judges. I mean, we know who the rich couple is here. That's a lot. Everybody wants to come.
We were told our gift bag was better than what they get at the Jack. So I don't know.
A little gift bag. They got. I provided alcohol. That was fine. But no, we didn't.
Shocker.
We didn't pay anybody because we're too cheap for that.
No, I think
I tell you what,
practice cooks are awesome because it's interesting to see the mythology, how they come up with their scores.
Yes.
And then they tell you how, I gave it an 8 or a 7 or a 9 because of this. And, they may score you down like, well, I tasted a little bit of, cumin or something like that. And you're like, I don't even use cumin or whatever. It's just always interesting to me when I do practice cooks to how they come up with their scores.
It was, we felt like it was injected with liquid smoke. That didn't happen. So,
yeah.
It's funny, what I spend that kind of money when I cook a $250 brisket and all this pork and all this stuff just for myself to figure out what's going on, probably not. But for 12 judges, I would. So it really makes a difference having those judges there, because otherwise I'm not going to cook a whole brisket just to practice something.
Let's just be honest. I mean, $250 for you is probably like, Lent money. I mean, come on.
I find that in the couch. It's in the cushion. I dig it out. So, that's front pocket money. No, it was good, but it was interesting to see some of the judges that some of them didn't even know. There was a couple things on chicken that came up about skin pulling off and not being bite through skin that some judges didn't realize that wasn't a thing anymore. They didn't realize that you can't be dinged for chicken. If you bite the chicken and it pulls off, that's not a rule anymore. And one guy in our thing was like, "Oh no, I got to ding you for that." Well, not ours, but just in general. And one of the reps is like,
he thought it was a scoring criteria,
right? And one of the reps is like, "No, that's not a thing." Like, since when? Since 5 years ago. So it was, like I said, it was as educational for them, for everybody in the room, because it's interesting to say somebody said, "Oh, your brisket's a little salty," and the next person's like, "What? It wasn't salty. It's perfect."
Our scores looked just like it would at a contest. You had 9s across the board on something, and then you had like a.
So this is interesting that you say that, because that's kind of what I was talking to Adam this morning about their whatever deal, and it's like
their practice.
There you go. Thank you. Their practice cook. It's like some of the judges liked sauce. Some of them didn't like sauce. Some of them liked heat. Some of them said it was savory. Some of them said, and it's like, and it just makes you think. And then for David, I heard you say that there was 12 judges, and it kind of got confusing, right? Like what I'm hearing.
No, I'm sorry, Brian.
But what I'm hearing is like you're seeing that you have to try to appease everybody with barbecue, and how do you do that? And I think that's what one thing that talking to Adam this morning, that's what they came away with was some like spicy, some like his chicken might have been savory. Well, what does that mean? What could I have done? Should I have added more sweet to it? Should I add more kick on the end? Little things like that are what you can try to take away from it. But like David, like you said, you've got to be careful on how you interpret all of the
Steve.
He's so mean. I would never say that to you, Joel. You can talk whenever you want to.
Well, Brian, like what Mark just said there is everything's still subjective, and he's right. It is, and we actually talked to them about that because we said, okay, if you don't like sweet, or you say something is it's sweet, I don't like sweet. It's a subjective thing, but you shouldn't be dinged for it unless it's like overly sweet or it has no flavor at all. Because just because you don't like a flavor doesn't mean you still can't judge it fairly, right? If it's all about what you like as a judge, then honestly you're not being fair to all the teams. It was just interesting, and I don't know if you want to get on this topic about sweetness, but there's some interesting comments about ribs and then the sweet profile kind of in general in the KCBS role that our judges had. So if you want to talk about that, we can. But it was interesting.
We can talk about everything. We're here. We do not have an agenda here on Chewin the BBQ.
That's right. I forgot. It's just the Atlanta. It's just Chewin the BBQ Fat. I forgot about that.
Well, I know Trey asked a question and Mark said it, but yes, the judges, they did say afterwards that they learned probably as much, if not more, than we did. And part of that, I'm glad we had 12 judges. I mean, yes, we've gone bankrupt having the 12 judges here. Just kidding. That's not true. They volunteered their time. But I feel like what was refreshing to us, I think, for every meet that we turned in, the comments we got were not off base of what we thought we turned in.
Mm-hmm.
Every single thing. Chicken, like we knew we turned in chewy chicken, and the comments were, the mouthfeel, the texture was a little off. We're like, So there was a bit of that conversation. Now there was always that oddball judge, which I think we all see when we actually do an event and get our scoring back. There's this off judge. But for the most part, the feedback we got was in line with what we turned in, which was good, like refreshing to go, okay, we're not off base in terms of taste and tenderness. Maybe there's a little tweaking that could happen on there, but at the end of the day, there was nothing shocking. Agreed?
Yeah, like what Lee Hickle just said is kind of my point. But what I want to talk about too was about the sweetness, because he asked the question about sweetness. Well, I was there. You jumped in.
I wanted to go back to my comment.
Anyway, it's all about me, not Joel right now. So we'll go up for a second. But my comment about sweetness was that we asked the judges, why are we in such a sweet craze right now when it comes to pork and ribs especially, and why they're doing so well? And the comment they said was, well, that's kind of where the trend has gone. And Robert asked the question, he says, well, you do gotta realize as judges, you kind of hold in your hand where the trend goes. So for example, if people start judging it and giving high scores and 180s for all this sweet ribs, and we know that XYZ guy who just won has a really sweet rib, we're going to do sweet ribs next week because that's scoring good. Because a lot of the judges, I'd say 80% of them this weekend for us said, we don't like the sweet ribs. We want more of a savory rib. What's your fault that we're cooking sweet ribs? It's not our fault.
But we feel like we don't cook a sweet rib.
I'm not saying us. I'm just saying
just in general.
In general, people they prefer more of a savory rib and less sweet. The judges that we had here, and I'm like, it's your all's fault that we're on the sweet train right now. Not our fault. We're following your lead, not our lead. And it kind of gave them an aha moment. So, not to say that we're going to start cooking savory ribs because that's what they want, because I don't think we are.
We cook very salty ribs. There's no sweet in them at all. Just so y'all know. So,
but anyway, that was a kind of an aha moment for those guys. And so I don't know if the trend will ever change, but it was kind of like, you guys are making us do what we do. So.
That was a very good conversation. It actually kind of derailed the feedback about the whole sweetness thing, and it came up through ribs, and it continued in pork, and then it continued in brisket.
We're going to mute now, so Adam and Tanya can talk now.
Well, something that we really learned that, they kept talking about with ours too is, we would always say you would get a comment card and you would be like, how can this one judge judge me and say that it was perfect. And then this next judge told me my meat was dry and the driest they've ever had. Well, we started discussing it. Well, say we had, some teams put in their pork box tubes and bacon and different stuff like that. Well, we were discussing at ours how one of the judges got a tube that was from a totally different butt than the other one. So they might have scored you a 9 because their tube was good. And then the other tube that was put in that box, it was dry. So it brought up the, notice to us that,
Well, hold on a second. Are you saying that cook teams don't always turn in perfect food and the judges just screw it up? Is that what I'm hearing? I was on the impression that cooks never turn in bad food and judges only screw up the judging. Is that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So there could be sometimes when the food isn't.
Well, they say only put the best in the box. Well, you can't taste every single tube or you're not going to have any left. So you can't guarantee that every tube you put in that box was the perfect tender tube without trying to, fill them all, or you're not going to have any left. So it might be a time where one judge did have a bad tube and the other judge did not. And that goes back to, that could be the reason. So sometimes it's, we sit here and say, well, how did they judge us that way? Well, probably was our fault half the time. You can't always say that it should be the same for every judge because it's not.
Jason, I've got a challenge for you.
Yes.
I want you to ask Adam a question and see if we can get at least 3 sentences out of him tonight. Okay, that's the challenge. He's got.
As long as you ask him something not about himself, he loves to talk. Just not about himself.
He's right to the point. We won't describe.
Ask him his chicken recipe.
No.
He's screwed.
I can see the, like we were talking about, tough or mushy, whatever. I can see that in chicken because it's different pieces of chicken. I can even see that in ribs and maybe pork, but brisket, that's one I don't get because, all of us are taking brisket from a really small section of that brisket. So you have one judge says it's perfect. One judge says it's mushy. One judge says dry. I don't really get that. But question for Adam, what do you see, Adam, when it comes to brisket scoring?
I'm not a good brisket cook.
Oh, bull.
I'm trying, but I thought our brisket was tender, but it's more as it sat there, it dried out and it got tougher. So maybe time they got it, it was tough. I don't know.
I think it can change colors really quick. Like, we put that brisket in that box and we think it's beautiful, but by the time they get it 10 or 15 minutes later, it might have turned gray. Yeah. We don't know. We don't get to see it at that point. But I agree with you. It's one of those where if one judge scores me all 9s, why did the other one score me all 7s? Because it came from the same area, that brisket. It shouldn't be different like the pork scores are. I agree with you on that 100%. The brisket should be the one that's more universally the same. But
I that was more than 6 words, by the way.
Yeah, not many though. But brisket, it goes back to what you were saying about sweet. A lot of teams are starting to put sweet on their briskets now. So then you got that judge that didn't like sweet, and that's the one that dinged you and gave you a 7, where that other judge, they like sweet and they gave you that 9. So it could just be about your sauce now.
All right, Mark Weatherall, he was part of y'all's class or practice. He said, what I found most interesting and helpful was the judge's thoughts on pork. I'll let Adam share if he wants to. Do you want to? I have no clue. I literally have no clue what this is about. So,
well,
Adam?
We had 7 teams and we actually got first in pork that day.
That's a shocker.
But I cooked money mussels only, detached, about 2 inches round, 6 inches long. Cooked 4 of them with the brisket.
It was our test. We cooked bacon all last season, and everybody kept telling us only do money mussels, and I wouldn't listen. So we said for our practice, that's what we're going to do, because we knew half the other teams there were going to turn in other parts of that butt besides us. So I said, we're not going to do it. And we did win pork and said it was the best pork they had of anybody's pork. It was great. And that was all we did was our little money mussels.
So what did the judges say when they saw just little money mussels in the box?
And this was what I caught was off guard too. When we asked him, why did you give us almost a perfect score and why did we win pork? The first thing one of the judges said to us was, it was the most beautiful box they had ever seen. I was like, and it took me off guard because, I know I do, good looking boxes. I should never not get 9s on appearance. I don't think any of us really should at this point, at this level of the game. I think they all usually look like 9 boxes.
I think everybody eats with their eyes. That help.
But so if they look at that box and they think it's beautiful, they're already thinking that thing's going to taste good. And it was you can make a only money muscle box look very beautiful.
The contest before the Royal, I turned in only money muscles because my tubes are horrible. My bacon was crap, and I'm only cooking collars. So I cooked 5 collars on the drum, and I turned in straight money muscles, and we scored really well. So, I mean, this coming year, I may just do money muscles.
Well, we asked them, and we asked the judges. Well, y'all always tell us only put what's good in that box. Well, the fact is, my tubes and my bacon are good, but they're never going to be as good as a money muscle. Yeah. And they said, and that's why you shouldn't put them in the box. And I'm like, so you got judges telling you it's never going to be as good as a money muscle, so don't do it.
We had that experience too, Tanya, because we've done a bit of tubes and money muscles. But we've always scored better when we've just done money muscle. But this weekend, we're doing something different where we want to turn in tubes and money muscle. And we purposefully turned in what we thought was okay tubes and the money muscles were good, but the tubes were okay. And then we did an A and a B box for every meat. So we turned in 2 boxes for every meat. And they would judge every box. The box A, they would always, all 12 judges would judge that on appearance. And then one table would get A for taste and tenderness, and the second table would get box B for taste and tenderness. And on our pork box B, we knew the tubes in it were pretty not great, just to see what's the feedback going to be. And the reality is they didn't like the tubes on either box. And we got dinged completely across the board because of the tubes. The money muscles they liked, but the tubes they hated. Even though on box A we thought they were okay, they still hated them because
you think they cooled off in the box and they got tough? Is that why? And like the money muscle,
maybe
you cook it enough, it's gonna stay tender the whole time. Yeah. And I think that has a lot to do with it. Like somebody just wait 15 minutes and try your food. And it's
like for us, it's like it's way too much work. Not that we're opposed to the work of it, but it's like, why would I go down that path? We all know don't put it in the box if you don't want it judged. And this was an experiment. And we're like, yeah, I'm not going to put it in the box. Like, I mean, unless I knew that those tubes are going to be just like spot on 100%. They make a beautiful box when you put the tubes and the money muscles in a box. The box is gorgeous.
Right.
But to get those 2 meats, with what we're doing, we're not skilled enough to do it yet. So we'll just stick with money muscles.
We'll be donating our tubes to the cause.
So if you want some tubes, we'll give you some tubes.
Well, when we did tubes, we found really quick, and they could be the same tubes at this contest versus the next. We either got like first place 180 or almost dead last.
Same thing.
And that's why we quit doing tubes, because I said I'd rather be consistent than that. And so we quit.
I agree.
I tell you one thing about our pulled pork is that I'd say half of the judges in our group were also Memphis Barbecue Network judges, and they're used to pulled pork, but they're not used to that pulled pork. They're used to a pulled pork that has bark on it, and they said, "Oh, if we had some pulled pork with bark on it, it'd be really good." I'm like, well, I ain't doing that. So you're shit out of luck. So yeah, if they're expecting something from a Memphis Barbecue Network judging standpoint, and we can't provide that, then we just can't. We're just not going to do it. So that hurt us as well, because their expectations of pulled are totally different than what we'd ever do.
So Adam, you won pork at your practice cook?
Yeah,
of course we did.
We won every category.
Yeah,
so you want to kind of share with us what you did, like what injection you used or anything like that? I mean, there's a lot of people on this chat.
Is there a certain profile, Adam?
I don't know. My wife makes them.
Like? Adam, is there a certain pork profile that you like? Certain cooks pork profile?
Yeah, he's sitting in here tonight.
I agree with John. When you're cooking, just
he's sitting in here tonight. He's sitting right up. That guy right there. That guy. Wow.
It's
I
hard
ain't gonna
to
lie. Brian taught us how to cook bacon, and I'm not gonna lie. The very first contest we decided to cook bacon, we got first place in pork. And he was the one that taught us how, and that was the first contest we had ever tried. That was Swamp Fest last year, and we had never cooked bacon before because we went from tubes to bacon, and we got first in pork that day. He's an awesome teacher right there.
Wow.
Anyway, that's all. Let's get off of that topic. It's hard to get anything tender other than money muscle when we cook collars. Is different than blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I hear you, John. That's true. So, all right, Jason, I'm going to ask you this question since we're all in it. As a cook in the past, it was always showing off what you can do, right? Like I don't want to just put a money muscle in because I feel like I'm not as good of a cook if I don't put in money muscle and something, right? Whether it be, I mean, there for a while it was tubes and bacon or tubes and the near the bone. Brisket was slices and burn ends. Now you're seeing a big trend in chicken which is funny to me that we're seeing this, but there's a trend of wings in with either thighs or legs. What do you see? Do you see the teams or do you see yourself changing the way that you think about this and only turning in legit the best of the best? And I think we all know that the best part of a pork butt is the money muscle.
So I tend to go more towards keep it simple, stupid. If I put in 10 bones or 8 bones of ribs, and not all 8 and all 10 are great, then I'm giving the judges extra opportunities to pull a rib that's not good. So I'm only turning in 6 ribs. I'm only turning in maybe turn in 7 slices of brisket, but I'm not turning more than 6 pieces of chicken. I'm trying to keep it simple, stupid. I don't want to give them a lot of options on pork because if I turn in, horn meat or money muscles and tubes, then what if they love the tubes, hate the money muscle? I mean, there's just so many variables. So if I can keep it as simple as possible, so I'm only turning in 6 ribs, and those 6 ribs are the best ribs I've got. So that's if I would tell anybody anything, keep it simple, stupid. Don't try to get over fancy with it because as soon as you try to get fancy with it, you're going to get your butt spanked. So that's my philosophy.
I think I couldn't agree more. I was one of those guys that was like, man, I don't want to just turn in money muscles. I haven't done that yet. I mean, I don't cook very often, but I still do the money muscles and bacon. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to – I was talking to Robert about chewing the barbecue fat at Simmons Swan. I was like, I don't think we need – I think we can probably just turn in money muscles. And, ribs, turn in 6 bones, chicken, same thing. And I told him, I said, you're not allowed to turn in burn ends. Like, I'm not going to let you turn them in. Just like we're only turning in slight. Not that he would anyway, but it's like I think we've got to just make it as easy as possible for the judges to like the food, and that's the whole point, right? Like y'all both of you two went and did practice cooks, and the feedback was turning the best food, right? Like, I mean, did any of the judges say we want a full box and we want extra in the box? I'm asking.
One judge said that, and they said if you had good tubes and stuff, he would score you up versus money muscles. But if it's not in the box, they can't judge it. So if you put good money muscles, then how can you score you down?
Well, that's a problem. They should judge what's in the box, what's not in the box, right? So if you only turn in 6 tube or 6 money muscles, and they said, hey, I would have gave you a 9 in appearance if you had tubes in there. That's not good. Like they shouldn't score you down because you didn't have pull or. If they judge what you present. So if someone's judging down because there's not tubes or not burn ends, that's wrong.
Yep. He didn't say he would judge you down. He just said he would reward you more.
Like we were talking about chicken. We were asking, okay, should we do thighs and wings, just wings or just thighs? And they were making the comment like, okay, so your thighs were okay. But then your wing was over the top, so I just graded you up because that wing was so good. But if that wing had been bad, you would have got graded down. But because you did have a better wing than your thigh, I went ahead and gave you a 9. So, in that situation, the wing did help me. The wing was better than the thighs. And I said, well, what if I just put all wings in the box? Some judges would not think that's enough meat in the box. They don't like just wings. They think you need the thighs. I think a lot of them ding us on that.
Which they're not supposed to. If you have 6 pieces, it's 6 pieces. It's very frustrating, right? We've
Yep.
received that feedback as well. They judged you for what was not in the box.
Yeah,
And then the parent score, which is
none of them said it, but you could tell, you could get an impression that they don't agree that all wing box is going to be good.
Yeah.
I love wings, but I probably wouldn't turn in all wing boxes.
We floated that idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I know, and I've seen people do it, and they've done really well with it. But I don't know.
I think it's one of those things you do really well or you do really bad. It's and to me, and this is Adam and I were talking about this again this morning. Adam and I talk a lot, but it was like wings are kind of offensive. It's almost like a burn in, so like the way people like them. Do they like them fatty? Do they like them with no fat? Do most people, when they think of taking a wing, they think of buffalo wing, or they think of a wing that has a little bit of a bite. And these wings that we're smoking are real soft, right? And not everybody knows what to do with a soft wing, So I think that's the thing, that you're going to get 6 judges, 5 judges that love it, and you're going to score really well. Or you might get 4 judges that love it, and then 1 kills you. Matt, I'm going to come back to your question. I haven't forgot. I'm going to ask David about that. So just hold on. We're going to get to him. All right, real quick. Well, let me ask this question since we're on this conversation. Matt also wants to know, David, your thoughts on the judges being biased on pork. Apparently, you were talking about, you said there was a bias in the pork judge.
Well, there were NBN judges with us. They do NBN and KCBS, to clarify. And I think if you don't know that going into the contest, but if you do have judges that are do both sanctioning bodies in the room judging, and you do put pulled pork in there, their expectation of pulled pork might be different than what the KCBS expectation of pulled pork is. So to err on the side of caution, I'm not going to be the guy to put pulled pork in there, but you're going to get a lot more NBN around this area of the world. So that's kind of where my comment was, Matt, is that I think everybody's have a little bit of bias about what they put. It'd be no different if we went to Texas and they expected burn-ins, or if you didn't have burn-ins in the box, but they expected burn-ins, or what their burn-ins expectations were versus the burn-ins expectations are in Georgia. So, whatever sanctioning body it is, obviously the judges have maybe been trained a little bit differently on their particular meat groupings or meat selections. We
have the same thing here. We have this, like, Adam, you can talk about this, GBA, right? And GBA in Georgia, you get a lot of those judges that judge GBA contest and they judge KCBS. Well, we're sitting here talking about putting 8 medallions or 6 medallions of money muscle in a box on green stuff. What's it called? Any of that kind of stuff. Yeah. Parsley, whatever. Adam, Chuck and Carrie East with Off the Chain, they dominated pork in GBA. Well, I would talk to them and they're like, no, you got to layer, you got to have a 4 or 5 pound box of food.
10-pound box.
10, yeah.
More meat in the bottom, double row of tubes, double row of money muscles, and a chunk of money muscle in the front. It's got like pounds.
And the judges feel like if you don't have all that in there, you can't cook because you can't display the whole butt, right? Like, and those are the same judges. But I think, it's so interesting seeing good I think Lee Hickle said it the best earlier. Good barbecue is good barbecue. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. Put in the best pieces, and you'll be fine. So
there was a bit of dialogue with those judges. They mostly judge KCBS. They do an occasional NBN. We're in an NBN world, but there's not like a ton of competitions at the same time, right? But those judges actually, when we were NBN judges before we started KCBS. You go to judging class and you talk about the cuts of meat, because you got to do whole hog. So you've got to do the loin. You're going to do the pulled. You're going to do the ham. Like, you know kind of the different textures of each of those things, although they should all be good, right? And the flavor should be the same. We had this conversation, remember? And we were like, yeah, David, good.
Now,
yes.
Remember?
And it was interesting to get that perspective versus the KCBS, because they're just like, well, it's like some of these judges, they're not inexperienced judges. They've been around. They're all CB, what do we call it? CBJ judges. Sorry, I can't think of it. J-Cup, thank you. I went brain dead for a second. J-Cup judges. And they're like, wait a minute, what are you talking about, tubes? Like, what do you mean by tubes? I'm like, really? We're having this conversation with you about tubes? Like, I mean, you don't even know the basic, like, kind of portions of a butt, much less a shoulder, right? So, you don't know either, right?
No, I have a question on this. This is a serious question. I have.
Hold on, and then I'll finish, and then you can. So going back to that whole thing about like MBN judge for us in our area, because a lot of our judges do both. They're used to a whole shoulder. It's a bit of a different cook profile, right? And how the pieces of meat are going to come out that are going to go into a box versus our KCBS. We're only cooking collars, right? That's not going to happen in an MBN event. And their education of that was kind of eye-opening, I think. Sorry.
So I'm gonna ask a question, and it's kind of a loaded question. I know where we're going, and I just want to hear.
Chris, thank you. I'm right.
Always. Joelle, nobody ever said you were ever wrong. You've always been right. Tanya, you too. All right. So this has come up in the past, and I think it's a great conversation. And I am going to be devil's advocate here in this. Everybody says the judges need to know the difference between money muscle, bacon, tubes, corned meat, blah, 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 blah. As a cook, should we just be cooking so well that it doesn't matter what that meat is, that they taste it and they like it? Or should we, because there's a lot of people that turn in tubes that look just like that look just like bacon, right? Like they shred it up and it looks just like bacon. You can't tell the difference between bacon and tubes, and they have different textures. So how do you go about that, trying to explain to a judge what they're eating, or should it even matter and you just turn in good food?
Adam's going to answer that. Well,
thank you, Adam.
If it's good, it should not matter. I mean, they can only judge what you put in the box. If you only put 6 tubes in the box, so that's what you're getting judged on. But they don't know the difference. So they're trained on what a money muscle should taste like. From what I get, they are trained just to how the money muscle should taste and feel in their mouth. So they really don't know what to expect from a tube or bacon. They might think your bacon is pulled pork and it's mushy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, if they're trained on how good that money muscle's supposed to be, they're going to eat that tube. And if they think it's supposed to taste like that money muscle, they're never going to judge you good.
100%.
Yeah, they're all different.
Robert and Lex with Smoke Me Silly ran our practice class. Thank you, Robert and Lex.
I was going to get into that, but go ahead. You're leading into that. That's perfect.
Sorry.
He's in bed right now.
Well,
don't worry about him.
He's asleep. But they had just gone to a
rep training or rep.
Table captain. And what they were talking about was when they got to the slides of the meats, because we went into this whole conversation about the different pieces and parts and the muscles of a butt specifically, right? Because that seems to be the confusion. And they just kind of skipped over the slides that kind of break down the butt.
Well, when you say they, it was not Robert and Lex.
Yeah, it was
the
people running the
instructors
class.
running the class.
Yeah.
They skipped over it, and so therefore it led to a discussion. And the reps that were in our deal this weekend are like, "What? They did what? They shouldn't do that." So, there's obviously as much as we have differences of how to cook, they have differences how to teach it.
Well, because you do, I think you do need to understand the different muscle fibers in that butt when we're turning it into a box. Yes, they should all taste good, but they all have different textures to them. They all have different fat content. The muscle fibers are different, so the mouthfeel is going to be a little bit different. if you don't have an appreciation for that, to know that, to what Tanya was saying, that the tube is not going to have the same mouth feel. Yes, it should be tender. It should have a good taste, but the mouth feel is going to be different than a money muscle. If they don't understand that, that's a big disservice to the training they're doing to judges.
All right, so I can't believe I'm going to say this. This hurts me a little bit to say that. David, you're going to agree with me. Wes Garrett might be right.
No, well, don't go that far. Don't go.
Might be close to being on track. I don't know. But he's saying the days of getting judged down for what isn't in the box is gone. Only put the best in the box and don't worry about how simple it looks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take that a step further in what y'all are talking about. And this is just me listening. I don't get to cook much. I don't get to do what y'all do. So I'm just hearing this. If it's me and I know that a judge only knows what a money muscle is, why would I turn anything else other than a money muscle? If I hear 100 times that judges differ in the way they like burn ends, why turn in a burn end?
Yeah.
Right? If the same for legs or thighs or wings or breast or whatever in chicken, why turn that in if there's that? And I know Adam and Tanya, I know y'all are amazing chicken cooks, right? And you've done really well with wings. So you can win with it, and it can help you, as the judges said. But it can also, if they're going to give you that scores you up, somebody else might look at it and score you down, right? So in my simple mind, and what I'm taking out of this, and y'all all are taking different things out of it, to me, only turn in, I don't want to say the bare minimum, but cook dang good food and only turn that in.
I'll go back to my previous statement. Keep it simple, stupid, right? So don't do anything too fancy. Just keep your box as simple as possible, and don't turn in 10 bones of ribs or 8 bones. I mean, turn in 6.
That's pretty good.
I wouldn't turn in a whole a 5-pound box of pork. I mean, because you're going to get judges that love pull, some that hate pull, some that love money muscle, some that like tubes better than bacon or whatever. So if you limit their options, what they can choose from, you're going to be much more successful.
That's what I have now. All right, so taking this all back, Dave and Joel, you had 44 judges there cooking y'all's meat, judging y'all's food. Adam and Tanya, y'all were there with 7 other teams. The overall, what would you say the overall takeaway from y'all's cooks were? Is that it, or is that something that I completely made up during this show?
No, for us, that's exactly what they said. They said only put in the box what you think is the best for your day. They actually said that. Well, not all of them, but a few of them said, because they knew our tubes weren't very good, and they said you shouldn't put tubes in there. And we knew we shouldn't have.
We would have never turned those into the comp.
We weren't competing against anybody. We were against 6 other teams. But that's exactly what they said. Don't put anything in there that you don't think is any good. Don't do it. You're doing yourself a disservice because you think we might want that.
But we use the practice cook as an opportunity to get the feedback on the differences of it. Because even though, and that's what you have to remember about the practice cook, we would have never put those tubes in the box at a competition. But to put them in there knowing box A, the tubes are kind of okay. And we loved the way they looked, but they were kind of okay. And then box B we knew was shit, pardon my language. And still to get that feedback, it's like, yeah, we wouldn't have put them in there, and you're just confirming what we thought, right? We'll just do a money muscle box.
I love it. Adam, Tanya?
Are you going to talk now?
No.
Adam.
I mean, that was the main thing we took away. It was the same. Only put in that box exactly what you want to be judged. You know, if I don't know my wings are spot on, don't put those wings in there with those thighs. If I know those wings are just as good, if not better than those thighs, I'm going to put them in there with those thighs every day because they're going to help me, not hurt me. But don't put anything in there that's not going to be the best of the best. But I also got to put a big shout out too, to go back to, about fellowship and barbecue, and a big shout out to our hosts, Scott and Deneen Parr, because, we actually had a big, 7-team contest at ours too. And, they had a big cookout on Friday night for us, and they served us hamburgers, hot dogs, the baked beans off the chain, and all this stuff. And we had a party Friday night and bonfire, and we had a ball. I mean, we had a great time too at this, as well as learning. Big shout out to them. It was awesome.
They're great.
We want to come to yours next year.
It was awesome.
Fred, you're correct. I mean, I should have said something about that. We are very blessed to have in our midst, watching the show, the producer of Chicken Fried with Chicken Fried. I mean, I wasn't going to get too giddy about it, but knowing that he's on and he is the producer of that show, I mean, it's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive.
And his grandmother's even watching too. I mean, that's impressive too.
I mean, that is amazing.
I'm not a potty mouth, Steve. Come on.
No, not at all. I think you're great. All right, so real quick, David and Joel, then I'll come to y'all, Adam. I didn't either, Carrie. Don't worry. How was the reps at y'all's event? The two new reps that were supposed to be cooking with you, but in turn decided to help rep the event, and Robert and Lex.
How were Robert and Lex?
Yeah, as reps.
Man, they need to keep their opinions to themselves. What
The
they need to
struggle
do.
is real. No, just kidding.
no,
They were awesome.
they-
They
you
did
know,
a great job.
They did a good job. And
Very organized.
I know they're kind of in a training mode now to become, full-time reps or part-time reps or whatever they're going to do. They're going to do a really good job for KCBS.
They were very good advocates for teams, like in the feedback session. Sorry,
Yeah.
honey. Like they were like, now from a cook perspective, I'm telling you, the reps left there going, these are seasoned reps and judges. Like, I mean, they weren't just brand new, and they were like, oh my gosh, we learned so much from this. I think it was just as much valuable, and I thank Robert and Lex for that more than our cooking.
I'm throwing it out there, I guess. Robert and Lex are in the training, reps and training situation, right? I don't think that's anything that.
No, they're signed off now.
Well,
Okay, good.
I think that what I want to say, I think to your point that you may want to talk about, Brian, or you want us to talk about, is the fact that they are cooks and they are going to be transitioning to reps. And what kind of difference does that make? It makes a big difference because they're demanding of. Now they won't be like this, I guess, as reps necessarily, but they are very demanding of a lot of comments. And if somebody made a comment that was very strange, they actually called them out. And they said, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by you like a crispier skin or something? Because there's no such thing as crispy skin.
That was a comment.
And it's like you can't ask for a crispier skin on chicken. We're not deep frying this shit. So he actually called out people and some of the comments like you can't judge tenderness based on that. That doesn't make any sense. So for him to
bite through skin
for him not to be shy in his questions and comments to the reps or the judges that were here, it was good. And I don't know if that's going to translate into his actual rep job. But
I think it'll translate into him, Wes.
She's been drinking.
Lex and Robert doing a cooks meeting right at their contest. So I think that feedback will come out in the judges meeting. I'm sorry. As my husband said, I'm drinking. Sorry.
So and real quick, I'm gonna Adam and Tanya, y'all had two of the best reps in the business at y'all's with Julie and Rusty Cook.
Right.
Love that. Love them to death. So proud of them. And what I was gonna say, and I don't even care anymore because whatever, it is what it is at this point in time. I'm excited to have Robert and Lex be in the rep world for KCBS because of the way I've seen the way KCBS treat reps is absolutely horrific and terrible. And they got to get their crap together. If KCBS needs to do anything, people need to quit worrying about the stupid score system and quit worrying about the judge and seating system. Get over all that crap and make sure that they treat the reps correct. That's what needs to happen. And the reps need to have the information that they can get to do things right. And I believe that Robert and Lex are going to really do a good job in making sure that there's processes in place for all the reps to be able to do their job satisfactory. And I do believe that majority of the people will sit there and say that the face of KCBS is the reps. And I don't believe that they get what they need. So I'm hoping that Robert and Lex come on and help the reps in all that they do. And that's my soapbox. I've been wanting to say all that for a long time, and I haven't really said much about it, but I think it's a freaking shame the way KCBS treats people, the way KCBS supposedly gave me an apology for my contest, which was a bunch of bullcrap. And I think that hopefully they're going to get this right and treat them correctly. And somebody needs to get in there and hold KCBS board accountable to making the reps be represented correctly. And I'm not saying that Robert and Lex are going to do that, but I think they're dang sure going to not allow there not to be processes. I know Robert well, and he's going to want to make sure that he's covered when he goes out there to do something. And I hope the best for that. Yes, Fred, come to the dark side. We need refs in CBA. I hear you. Y'all are doing an amazing job over there. Y'all had a big contest. CBA does need to expand. I couldn't agree more. But yeah, there's just so much good things going on. Did Robert have that scolding on agenda form? You know, Robert didn't even know I was going to say that. He would get pissed off at me if he knew I was going to say that. I love them to pieces. They're amazing. They're great people. I love what they love barbecue as much as anybody. But anyway, that's enough of that little rant. Jason, what do you think about tonight? I did not mean to keep you on here all night.
Well, I enjoyed having me on. First of all, it's great to sit down with barbecue royalty on the show and rub elbows. So
aren't they amazing? Aren't they amazing?
They're just awesome, just so awesome.
I mean, it is so cool being able to be home. No, the barbecue royalty, especially for podcasts, is Wes Garrett. I mean, that guy's
That's true. That's true.
He is a producer.
Oh, yeah, he won't even talk to me. He won't even call me anymore. So I answer my phone calls. So.
Oh, he hasn't answered my phone call in 2 years. It's amazing. But I get to talk to David. I talked to David. I'm like, hey, can you relay this to Wes for me? And it works. So if anybody needs the connection to Wes, David.
Consigliere.
Yes.
He's consigliere or whatever you call that.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, real quick before we end, Jason, how can people sign up for your contest?
Go to smokeontheshores.com. We've got 6 spots left, so we're excited. March 15th, 16th, Lebanon, Tennessee. It will be the first Mid-South Barbecue Association event. And I'm sure everyone knows this, but we are the host site for the KCBS World Invitational as well. So come out, check out the place. We're excited to have everyone. A lot of teams are coming in Thursday. Someone told me once before, the good thing about Smoking the Shores is you sign up early and get there early. Eric and Trell said that the top 15 people, I think the top 15 teams came in on Thursday night. So come early, come often. Love to have you.
Thank you, Jason, for the Mid-South Barbecue Association plug. Tennessee Cup. So if you're a Tennessee team, you better sign up.
We're excited. It's going to be a great time. I see Carrie, you asked how many teams in the rib burn. I think we're a little over 60 right now. I think it's like 62, 63. So
Joel's not allowed.
Joel, you're not cooking it.
You're not allowed. David has to do that for it.
Yeah, I like it. More fun for me.
You have to go out with me while they do that.
Fine.
Tanya, you and I go downtown.
It's fine.
hey, there is a train in Lebanon that takes you downtown, just so you know.
What?
Yeah, there's a train that goes, it's not too far from our site, that drops you off literally downtown Nashville on Broadway.
Yes, we could do that while they do the river.
It's called Uber.
Unfortunately, it stops running at a certain time, so you have to get an Uber back. But
we can do that.
Yeah, we can handle that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, and if anybody's looking for another contest to sign up for in November, Land of Barbecue Store Classic, we'd love to have you there too.
Never heard of it.
That's the best contest in Georgia.
Thank you. It's going to be. We're looking forward to having a good year this year. It's going to be awesome. But does it bring you back? Wes, that all depends on how the night goes. It might bring you back. It might leave you in Nashville. Who knows? Awesome. All right, Adam, Tanya, if anybody wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way they can find you?
Facebook, just Messenger.
Under Adam, Tanya, Dawkins, or Bad Rooster Barbecue.
Thank you.
Either one.
The computer.
Either way, just look me up.
Love it. David, Joel.
By mail.
You got dial up?
If you need to get a hold of, if you get a hold of Wes Garrett, just email me at Politically Incorrect Barbecue. I'll take care of all those for you. By the way, my shirt says "Smart Ass" on it in recognition of Wes Garrett tonight. Just want to put that out there.
Well, it just says a picture of an ass, and it's
Smart and
wise.
an ass is on there.
But you can't see it.
But no, we're on
shirt.
we're on Instagram, Facebook, email. If you want to call me on my phone? Yes, I mean that's Wes. My phone number is. He'll give it to you, I'm sure. He gives it to all the strippers in town, so so they all got my number. By the way, Bluebird is the sponsor of the Smoke on the Shores this year, so come on by if you're there. The Tennessee Cup, Smoke on the Shores. So come by. They'll be doing some sampling Saturday night, Friday, Saturday
get
night.
Samples Friday night.
Yep.
That's how
Man, I need to figure that out. Jason, you get all the good sponsors, man.
Man, we are a blessed team. It's as you know, it takes a lot of hard work to put this thing on. So never would imagine 8 years ago that we'd be where we're at now, but we just have a really good team behind us that puts us together.
Love it. Awesome. Everybody, hope you have a wonderful night. Have a great week. Remember that a bunch of good contests going on this weekend. Can't wait to see what happens. But we will see you next week on Chewin the BBQ Fat. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.